right, let's talk about video marketing, all right? Content marketing by way of video. Let's get into this. Hey there, Enterprisers, what's good? It's Jason Ligo here again. And in this video, I want to talk to you about how to spruce up your video content marketing. That's right, I want to talk to you about video marketing for your content. Or one thing that you could also say is content marketing by way of video. Whatever you want to call it, that's what we're talking today, because unless you are living under a rock, you know that video marketing is all over the place right now. It even seems like even those who really never thought that video would take off or didn't believe that they could ever become a person who is on video, now they're realizing the importance of being on video. And that's actually a good thing because more and more people are getting past their fears and insecurities and getting on video. The reality is though, even if you're not a well-trained YouTuber or someone who's an established video marketer, the reality is most people still are familiar with video to some point, simply because you have things like lives and stories and social media, and all of these things are intertwined. What I want to talk to you today is not necessarily how to boost your production value by way of video, but more importantly, how to come at this from an influencer and marketing approach. Does that make sense? I want to talk to you, give you a couple of tips on how to really use your video to boost your marketing efforts, right? Because there's a couple things that you need to do. So oftentimes this would really follow along the lines of what I'm doing here, where you're giving content and it's usually education based, and that usually leads into other forms of marketing and ultimately culminates in sales and repeat sales and so on. You get the idea. So with that said, let me go ahead and just give you 3 very quick but powerful ways that you can spruce up, boost, and enhance your video content marketing. Let's get right into it. Number 1, goal awareness. That's right, goal awareness. Okay, now when I say that, what is it that I'm referring to? Well, I'm not necessarily talking about you just putting a title on your video, although that really does help. But again, if we're coming at this from an influencer or a marketing standpoint, right? If we're coming at this from a place where we're trying to teach somebody something or show somebody something or demonstrate value, then you want to make that clear. So I find that it really helps if you give a title or at least declare what the goal is of the video. And I believe that every video should have a goal. So for instance, you might say, this is how to do this, right? Or let me show you how to do this. Now, when you use that particular phrasing, it is also very powerful because how to is one of the most searched things in the world. YouTube, for instance, the video platform that you're likely seeing this video on right here, is the second most used search engine in the world, second only to Google, and Google happens to own them, right? So there's some really good synergy going on there, but most people are looking for how to do something, right? What's more educational and informational than that? So if you give the title that says that and let people know up front, especially when you're talking, after you've introduced yourself, after you've greeted, you're going to say, hey, let's go ahead and talk about, and let me show you what this is. Now, all of a sudden, you have made it clear what the goal of the video is. And that really is important because we do a whole lot of talking about your ideal customer, right? What is your ideal customer looking for? What are the questions that they want answered? Now you're starting to answer it. So if you put it out there, this is how you do this, then when they're searching for it, they're going to see that that's what it is. Now, should every video be like this? Not necessarily, right? You might have other forms of content where you're not teaching something, you're showing something, but make it clear what it is, all right? This is today's vlog, right? Or follow me as today I take a journey down and fill in the blank. You get the idea. But it's always important to make sure that it's clear what the goal is. You're not shooting video just to shoot video. You're not getting on camera just to be on camera. You're showing people exactly how to accomplish something, or you're wanting to show them something. Make it clear. Number 2, grab attention. Grab attention. Now this really does drill down to the basics and the foundations and fundamentals of marketing and video marketing, is that you want to go ahead and grab attention, right? Or one thing that we like to say in the industry is a hook, right? This is what you call a strong hook, right? Because it's just that, it hooks your ideal customer, it hooks your prospect. All in all, bottom line, it just grabs their attention. So what are some ways that you can do that? When it comes to video marketing, there are definitely some things that you can do. Obviously, you can do what we talked about previously that is also conducive to it, is making a flashy title or a flashy headline, an attention-grabbing headline, right? You see this online with video sales letters and so on. Maybe you would put it controversial, right? You might say, you know, here are some things I would never do, right? Or never do this, or something. Those are ways to grab attention. In the field of YouTube and other videos too, you have what's called the thumbnail, which is a small picture that is usually identified next to the video or embodies the video. And you've got all kinds of things there, right? You got people doing this and doing this and doing this, all this crazy stuff. Why? Because it grabs attention. In terms of actual video and when you're recording, what are some things that you can do? One of the best things that I like to do is really just to be animated at the beginning, right? You see how I just came forward, or usually in my videos, I'll say, hey, what's it called? Or hey, enterprisers, or how's it going, everyone? A strong greeting. That actually works as well too. There's also other things. You can employ the dynamics of what you might see in film, right? So for instance, you might show yourself not on screen and then popping up on screen, right? Or you might find yourself talking to the camera and then changing your facial expression, right? You can also use props. You can start to bring in other things, right? And not to get too deep into video production, but that's also why it's important to use cuts and use edits like that in smooth transitions, because it's not just about grabbing your attention, it's also about keeping and maintaining your attention, right? And we live in a world today, especially now, whether you're young or you're old, where people's attention span is so much more small and diminished, and it's like no one can sit still and just watch unless they're absolutely enthralled with what they're watching. So because of that, these little nuances, these little interjections of edits and dynamics and people up and down and volume and doing some of these things we're talking about, that's where it comes in really, really handy to keep your people's attention, right? So number 2, grab attention and then make sure you keep it. Number 3, and finally, give action steps, okay? Give action steps. Again, we're talking about coming from the standpoint of a marketer, of a person who's trying to show value because it's gonna lead to something that they can sell, market, or monetize. So you wanna make sure you give the next step. Don't just end it where it is, right? You could do that, but again, coming from the standpoint of what we already established, you wanna make sure you give your prospect the next step. Now, what could that be? Could it just be buy my stuff? Sure, it could be if you're actually selling something right online, but oftentimes you want to build and nurture a relationship first. You want to demonstrate consistent value. So go ahead and simply say, and what's most popular for YouTube? Subscribe, right? Make sure you subscribe, right? And make sure you follow if you're doing other platforms. And why? Because you want your prospect, you want your person, your ideal customer to stay in tune with you. You want them to be excited about the next time that you drop content. So this is also where something like giving away something free is something that you can do. Let's say you want to get someone to add to your email list. You can go ahead and offer them a freebie of some sort. Hey, go ahead and opt in to this link, and then I will give you my free guide to so on and so forth, right? You have different things that you can give to them that will cause them to take the next step. Or you could also ask for engagement. All right, one thing you can do is say, listen, if there's anything that I missed, or if you want to add to the conversation, let me know in the comments below. Sound off. This is where you ask a question and give them the opportunity to answer. Now you see where I'm going with this. You are doing so many things to give them something to do. And why is that important? A couple reasons. Number 1, it builds and deepens the relationship, right? It feels like you're not just addressing a camera or you're addressing a million people, you're addressing them directly, and it gives them to respond to that. On top of that, you're nurturing a relationship to where eventually you will not just be an influencer or someone who's marketing online, but you'll also be a trusted advisor. And that is very, very important, because now you're making a recommendation for someone to purchase something, and it's not a sale. It's just that they're following the recommendation of someone that they trust for this particular advice. This is why you want to give next actions. There you have it, my friends. Listen, I hope that this was helpful to you. Let me know which one of these you've maybe thought about or haven't thought about, and also sound off in the comments below on something that really stood out to you, right? Make sure you subscribe. There's that action step, right? Subscribe. Also hit the notification bell. That way you don't miss out on any more hot new content that I got coming down the pipe just for you. This is Jason Ligo with Always Enterprise. I'll see you next time.